Welcome back, Radical Music Reviews. It's a snowy, slushy, crappy, cold day. What better place to be than a music review? Working my way through my catalog. Next up is a band that I've enjoyed for many, many years. And every time I listen to them, I smile, I sing along. Is some of their stuff overplayed on the radio? Sure, a lot of this stuff is. But when you're reviewing something or you're thinking about when you first heard it, I loved it. It was awesome. And it's Cheap Trick. Now, for those of you who are older than me and you were listening to Cheap Trick in high school, I could just imagine how much fun it was and how much fun they are live. I haven't seen them live, but I'm hoping to have the opportunity with ZZ Top. I was supposed to see them pre-COVID like 2 years ago, and it got canceled, and it really sucks. But Cheap Trick is a band that I dig. I've dug them for a long time, and there's a reason for that, and I'll get to it. So they got together in the mid-70s, around 75, 76, and they came out with their self-titled debut album, Cheap Trick, in 1977. They also, that same year in 77, did another album called In Color. Both fantastic albums, both had some great hits on it, and I think it was on one of those two albums. It might have been later on one of the ones that I have here. They did a great song. It's a remake of a band called The Move, called California Man. Now, the thing about Cheap Trick is they did a lot of original stuff, but they also did a lot of covers, and they did them well. So much so that they actually did the Beatles' Lonely Hearts Club Band in its entirety. And they did it live. It was like a homage to the Beatles. They were huge Beatles fans. They did it. They did it well. I mean, is it better than the original? No, I don't think so. But they did a hell of a good job. And all the songs they do covers of, they do a great job. Now, Cheap Trick is one of those bands that you can sing along to. Their beats are fun. Their lyrics are sometimes silly, but they were, make no mistake, they were a rock and roll band. And, they were a huge hit around the world, particularly in Japan, where after World War II, the American influence of a lot of different things, hamburgers and baseball and rock and roll music, really resonated with the youth in Japan, and that never really let up. Led Zeppelin was a massive hit in Japan, and so was Cheap Trick. It actually, their first 4, maybe 5 albums are fantastic. You can't go wrong with any of them. They're really good LPs. Their most famous one is this one from, I think it's 78, Live at Budokan. Now, Budokan was an album that, like any live album, if it's going to be a success, it's got to have 2 things. The music's got to be great and energetic, and the crowd has got to be really into it. And they were in this. And in Japan, you can hear the girls screaming constantly, song after song. I think that, that's not in no small part to Robin Zander, the singer's appeal. He's a good-looking dude. He had a great voice, great energy on stage, and it resonated with the crowd. When a lot of bands in the 70s, the big bands, who I don't have to go into, were doing some, more serious rock and roll with more complex musicianship, Cheap Trick just focused on straight ahead rock with good rhythms, with easygoing songs that were, like I said, fun to sing to. And, if you're going to start anywhere, I would do Live at Budokan. This was a great LP, and it's one of the best live albums ever recorded in rock and roll. It is a lot of fun. It's got a lot of their hits on it. Hello There, I Want You to Want Me, Ain't That a Shame, another remake, Ain't That a Shame. They did a great job of that one. Heaven Tonight, another album I have, another great one. It kicks off with Surrender, which is one of their hits, one of my favorite songs. And on Top of the World and California Man, that's on this. Heaven Tonight, if you're gonna look for an LP of Cheap Trick, not live, this is the one I would go to. And I also have an extended play. For those of you who don't know what an EP is, an extended play is an album that is shorter than an LP, which is long play. There's only, I think, 4 tracks on here, all live from different years. It's a great one, but definitely check out At Budokan and Heaven Tonight. Fantastic album. Fantastic band. I was fortunate enough to talk to a guy who was a session musician in Vancouver, and he recorded some work with Cheap Trick, and he went out in the town in Vancouver with them after. And he said the type of guys they are, they were exactly like their music. They were fun, they were energetic, and they had a great time. And they're still going. I mean, after like the early 80s, they didn't do a lot of great stuff. I think they just lost that originality. But if you look at them, how they played, how they dressed, they're a silly, goofy, fun band. But they were still a great rock and roll band, and I think that was the appeal to a lot of teens in the 70s. Certainly an appealing band to me growing up. I love listening to and love singing all their songs. So one of the great things about Cheap Trick is not just the hits, like I Want You to Want Me, Surrender, On Top of the World, California Man. It's the stuff that you don't hear on the radio, like I really want to instill in you. You hear the stuff on the radio, you get bored of it, but they do other stuff that's fantastic. So if you listen to some of these records straight through, you're going to find stuff that's great. And Cheap Trick is just those first 4 or 5 albums, chock-a-block full of fantastic material. I still spin them. I still love listening to them. So, that's it for this video. The next one I've got is going to be a little extensive because one of my favorite guitarists, one of the premier guitarists of all time. And as well, I'm going to throw a country album in there. And so hope you stick around for that. Cheers.